name is Caroline Wilhelm. Welcome to my podcast, Moms Have This to Say. Today, I want to share my motherhood journey. How did I get here? I met my husband in my early 30s and we got married soon after. He had 2 beautiful kids. We chose not to have kids right away and enjoyed married life. But a year into it, I decided it would be nice to have my own child. So we started trying to have kids. It was not something I worried about because I assumed once you start trying to get pregnant, it'll happen immediately. And so that wasn't even a worry for me. But we started trying to have kids and a year went by. Then the second year, I was like, wait, I need to figure this out. Why am I not getting pregnant as easily as I thought I would? So I contacted my OBGYN to find out what's going on. And she tested us both to see if there are any infertility issues. And she was like, you're fine. You should have children. Both of you are healthy and you should be able to have children. So we kept trying. Year 2 went by. Year 3. At this point, I started to wonder if this will ever be something I'll experience. Every month, I realized I wasn't pregnant. And I'd be so sad. So I talked to my doctor again to find out what are the other options because this was becoming depressing. I wondered, is it because of my career? At the time, I was an accountant and month ends used to always be crazy. Year ends were crazy. And I was wondering, is that the reason why I am not able to conceive a child? So I started to make sure that my workload was less by reducing my work in any one establishment. So I started consulting and having different businesses in accounting so that I can have time to myself and create my own schedule. And even with that, I still wasn't getting pregnant. And I was so sad because if there was one thing I really wanted is to be a mom of my own child. So year 3 goes by, and at this point, we started to consider other options, one of them being IVF, which my doctor was okay with. She suggested it and said if we were ready for anything like that, that would be awesome. Except she said she still hasn't seen a reason why I wouldn't be able to have my own child. So because of the disappointments, the monthly disappointments that I had, I decided I do not want to continue in this path of trying. I just wanted to let that go. And if I get pregnant, great. But if not, I needed to have other options. So we started looking into IVF. While we were looking into IVF, this is year 4, I was like, let's wait and see if there are any other options. Because at this point, I'm like, there's got to be other options. And also there's that disappointment of, I don't want to go that route because I want to know that I couldn't have my own child. So it was a sadness and a disappointment, depression almost of why am I not able to conceive my own child? And my doctor kept reassuring me that whichever way you become a mother, you are still a mother. If you're a mother by adoption, if you're a mother by IVF, surrogacy, foster parents, however you become a mom, you are still going to be a mom. So she kept assuring me not to give up. Motherhood is not out of reach. So the 4th year comes along, and now I've already given up on all this and truly looking into IVF and adoption. And I'd already come to terms that that might be the route that we're going into, and I was okay with that. So I was very relaxed, very calm, no more trying to be pregnant, just being me and having fun and enjoying my 2 stepchildren and just having fun and making life light. And I started to see a lot more joy in my life and not overly consumed with trying to be pregnant. And lo and behold, my 4th year, I got pregnant. I was so excited. When I found out I was pregnant, I had so many pregnancy tests. I think I did up to 8 pregnancy tests because I couldn't believe it. I'm like, there's no way I'm pregnant. There's no way. And I wasn't even trying. At this point, I'd already given up on trying to be a mom of my own child. I was like, you know what? I'll figure out another way, but I'm going to relax and not pay attention to it. So I called my doctor. I said, you know what? We are pregnant. I've done so many tests. I'm for sure we are pregnant. And she's like, come on in so we can do a blood work and make sure that this is viable. So I went in, we did the blood work. We knew I was pregnant. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. I was going to be a mom. So 8 weeks into it, I just felt a little different, but not that different. I had a little morning sickness. I am a lover of coffee. Starbucks coffee, Folgers coffee in the morning. I'm a lover of coffee. So during my pregnancy at that time, I just couldn't stand coffee. The smell of it, everything was just not for me. But 8 weeks into it, I just felt different. Something was off. And I went to the doctor, and she did an ultrasound, and she let me know that we had lost this pregnancy. And that was sad. The miscarriage was sad. And at that point, I started being depressed all over again. At this point, I was still an accountant, and I was working a very good job out in Catalina. And I enjoyed the job, but it was always stressful during the end of the month, which is normal for every accounting job out there. So I was thinking maybe it's the stress of the job, maybe it's, and I had all these reasons why I had this miscarriage. I remember my doctor telling me, miscarriage doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. On the contrary, it just means that this was not a viable pregnancy. That's it. There are many factors that can cause a miscarriage. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong necessarily. So after the miscarriage, I was a little depressed. I took time off from work. I took a little vacation and came back. And I'm still a little depressed and a little sad, but I prayed to God to just give me the strength to get back to the swing of things. And I think my sadness really was I'd spent 4 years trying to be pregnant, and I'd come to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to be pregnant. So him allowing me to be pregnant and losing my baby, I felt was a torture. I was like, I would have rather not been pregnant at all because I wouldn't have felt that pain of wanting something so bad and then finally assuming that you're almost going to have it and not have it at all. So I was so depressed, so mad at God. But I also knew that God was still good. It's just my feelings were overtaking me. So I prayed for peace, and I started to come to terms and have peace of mind. Luckily, 2 months into it, I got pregnant again, and I had my baby. The pregnancy was tough. 5 months into this pregnancy, I had a very serious illness, and I actually thought I would lose the baby. And then towards giving birth, her umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck and her hand. So she kept losing, her heart rate kept going down because as she moves, she used to kind of strangle herself a little bit. But again, against all odds, my beautiful baby was born, and that was the best day of my life. Being a mother had eluded me so long, and finally, I had the chance to have a baby. I know there's a mother out there who understands what I'm saying. So my rainbow baby came along, and I was so happy. I was like, finally, I'm a mom. Finally, I'm holding a child that is mine. I was so excited. This child was a blessing from God. I believe this child is a miracle child because against all odds, with my illness when I was between 4 to 5 months pregnant, and with her umbilical cord wrapped around her neck and hand, this child was a miracle child. She is my miracle baby. So motherhood, which had eluded me for so long, is finally here. And I was excited, and I had just a new lease on life. Like, I was so excited. But then I also realized that motherhood is not easy. So as excited as I was so tired. I mean, she was beautiful, but I was exhausted. And the first 3 days of giving birth were amazing, but I was starting to understand the fact that sleep is not going to be in my life for a while. Sleep was overrated. So moving forward, I just realized that motherhood is not easy, but it's beautiful all at the same time. I know there's a mother out there who understands my story. I know there's a mother out there who understands how hard sometimes it is to raise a child after giving birth later on in life and or giving birth after a long wait. There's a mother out there who's waiting to be pregnant. There's a mother out there who lost a baby. There's a mother out there who has a rainbow baby. And then there's a mother who's never had any issues getting pregnant. In fact, if she wants to, she could have up to 20 children. And then there's a mother who might not be able to have children, but God has allowed her to have children through adoption. And they have the most beautiful families. And there's a mother out there who has had surrogacy and has had success in that. There's mothers who've had IVF, and IVF is amazing. And these mothers who've been able to become moms through IVF. These mothers who have been able to become moms through foster parenting. So there's many ways to be a mom, and there's many ways that God allows us to be parents. Whichever way, God has given you that ability to be called mommy by somebody. It's not something to take for granted. As we continue to explore motherhood together, I would love for you to share your story, your motherhood journey, how you got here as a mom. For me, I had something called secondary infertility, where I wasn't able to have another child after my little girl. And that's okay, because I have what God wanted for me, and that is a beautiful baby girl who is just the sweetest, the funnest, most rambunctious, a lot of work. It keeps me on my feet all the time. But she is a joy, and she is my miracle child. So I'm okay with that. I'm like, God, I came to terms with it. I do a lot of play dates. I arrange a lot of fun things for her. It's mommy and me all day long, every day. And I love it. It's just a gift. I want you as a mom to realize that motherhood is a gift. It's not a guarantee. It's a gift that God has given you. So as you're going through a very hard time maybe in parenting, especially new moms, when you've just given birth and you're really exhausted and you have all those new mom issues, just tell yourself this is a gift. And I'm going to miss this time. And I know it sounds crazy, but you will miss when they were that little. They didn't sleep all the time, but they were so little and they were so cuddly, and they would sit where you put them and they would not move. I mean, you're going to miss that one day when they're running around the house, breaking everything, throwing things from all the cabinets. You'll miss it. And everyone tells me you're going to miss this hard toddler to like young little girl age when they become older and they're sassy and they tell you what they don't want and all this. And everyone tells me you're going to miss it. And I believe that. I look at myself right now and I look at my mom, and I'm a mom. And I'm sure she looks at me and she still sees a little baby. So being a mom is a gift. Moms, please share your story, because your story will be someone else's story. There's a mom out there who needs to hear your story. Your story matters. My story matters. Let's do motherhood together. We got this. Thanks for joining us on today's edition of Moms Have This to Say. Perhaps you have a mom story that you'd like to share with other moms. We'd love to hear it. You can share your thoughts and stories on our Moms Have This to Say Instagram page, or on our Moms Have This to Say Facebook page, or on info@momshavethistosay. Also, be sure to subscribe to our podcast, Moms Have This to Say, on Buzzsprout.